Hello and welcome to the Foxcatcher Review. My name's Julian Valence, joined in the studio by Clint Hutchi Hutchison from racing.com. Now, we have got lots to get through that we don't even have time for footy chat.
Really? No footy chat?
I know you went to the VFL yesterday and the Dogs won, but we don't even have time for it.
That's very disappointing, but that's fair enough too because we've got a bit to get through. And I've even got the glasses on because I've got all these numbers.
You're serious.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you've come in breathing fire, so I'm a little bit scared because I think we're going to be of differing points of view today, which is good. Let's get to the track intel. I think we're going to be okay in this space for a little bit. This is a safe space to me at the moment. Out 6 metres the entire circuit. It was a good 4 upgraded to a good 3 after race 3, and the times indicate that was deserved. There was no doubt they were running quick times. Look, if I'm being really picky here, Hutch, and I'd be interested to see your point of view, I thought forward of midfield's an advantage, but I thought the track raced really well, and it was a quick deck, and I think we can trust it going forward. But I'm being probably maybe a little bit picky. We're trying to find forward as an advantage.
I think it's a fair call. Early in the day, I did think that was the case. I think first 3 races, sort of those first 2 in running, figured, but 0 to 9 lengths at the 600, first through 11th, 1 to 3 wide lanes. 2 to 6 was interesting, all winners. But I'm with you. I thought the track played really well. By the end of the day, when you looked at the overall picture, you went, you know what, you could win from anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get to the hen house because we've got plenty to discuss here. We're going to spend some time on these horses, on these races that we think have gone great. And then when we get to the flip side, we're going to probably spend more time because you're just going to paste me on this.
Well, I'm just going to disagree. You know, we'll see.
Let us see. Let's get to the first in the hen house. It's later in the day. Look, and this whole card has sort of gone pretty solid. So there's plenty of horses that we're not going to touch on for the hen house that I think still have gone pretty good. Race 8, it was the Rupert Clark Stakes. It was won by Seeples. 1 3/4 seconds inside standard time. They ripped the clock open here. 11.94, which is probably a little bit softer. But when you're running that kind of time, I've got this race rating really well. And there's been so much talk about this race. And so we're just going to talk about overall the race, and then we'll get to probably certain horses. But the ride by Craig Williams, and we spoke about it in the preview that just didn't think he'd be able to get in. Well, he got in.
Yeah, he got in.
Outside leader, and that was putting him in the high percentage play. And then all the rest from there, and in particular another horse called Angel Capital became the low percentage play just from a map perspective.
Yes, it did. That's 100%. I mean, I thought the ride from Craig was aggressive, and he nearly rated it at absolute perfection though. So looking at just efficiency, about 99.2% with what he did. So he was empty late, but he was entitled to be with what he did. With regard to the Angel Capital sort of little discussion there, I think it's an interesting discussion because with Damien Lane, obviously there was something he could have done a little bit differently early, and getting down to ride that sort of weight with certain jockeys I've seen it over many, many years.
This is a really good point. So I want you to really elaborate on this.
Getting down to ride 53.5, and they're just a little bit off their game sometimes, some of these top level riders, and you see it time and time again, and it can be half a kilo or a kilo that they've got to sort of really stretch themselves, and it's just those split-second decisions they normally get right that they may not get right on this occasion. So I think, there was obviously huge excuses for Angel Capital, but in defence for Damien, I think that could have been a factor for him, getting literally wasting to get down to ride.
Because he would ride comfortably 55, maybe at a pinch 54.5, and he's had to ride on Saturday 53.5.
Yeah, and it's just that early part of the race for me. Yeah. The other issue that I've got with Angel Capital, I know they've been going back, but does he need to go that far back? I know he was a long way back in the fast 1,000. There's good speed here. I'm not 100% convinced he's a complete back marker. I think they could have been a little bit more positive with him. So, but yeah, once he got inside of heels down the side, that was a mistake he doesn't usually make.
He was just dictated to by other horses in the end, wasn't he? And that's what happened. Seeple's really strong, though. I mean, the second horse was great too, Mr. Umbini, wasn't it?
What a run from
really
her.
good effort by her.
She's got a big race in her for sure. I thought it was it was one of the best performances of the whole day for me, Mr. Umbini. I thought she was great. I mean, obviously, Angel Capital, if it gets out. How far does it win by if it gets out?
Oh, it wins by 4. It's just, the thing is, if you actually look at it again, and again, it's been dissected a lot, so we don't want to go over too much, but I feel like it doesn't actually get out till about 50 metres, and it's got beaten about 1 1/4 or something.
1.3. It's crazy. I mean, to go literally the whole way, race rate that well, and you're beating 1.3 and pretty much not let off the bridle. I mean, incredible performance. Race was set up, I think, for the back markers because they went pretty quick.
Yep.
But all that said, it's a race overall that we can trust. big ticks for Craig Williams with a positive ride.
I would think Steeples, without knowing the camp and what they're going to do, probably goes on towards the Toorak, and that seems fine, the right progression. If you were quickly on the spot with Angel Capital, would you go to 1,600 metres or come back to 1,200, because that's probably the only sort of type of races you're going to be able to find in terms of a G1, because he needs a G1. That's what he's a colt.
He's going to get a G1. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, I think before the race, a few of us thought I think he'll win a weight for age. Never mind one of these. So, would you go to a Toorak and try? I don't know.
I wouldn't.
I'd come back to 12 because there'll be speed on it, and you know what you've got. So play with what you know at this point in time, and they can always attack something else during the autumn. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, champion sprint at the back end of Flemington's for me.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how they get there. So you probably need a run in between, whatever you need to do to get there. But that's the race for him. Points bet about $15, $16. I reckon that's the right race. I think he's a proper weight for age 1,200 metre horse.
I agree.
There's no K-ing Rising coming to Flemington, and without that,
they were talking about Everest, but why go and run there now?
It's just dangerous because you're taking on a horse that we know is potentially outstanding and can just butcher you for the rest of the prep. They'll figure it out. Other race that goes into the hen house, oh boy. The Naturalism Race 9, the horse is called Half Yours, goes 1 1/3 inside standard time, has the audacity to just about run the best last section of the day, 11.60. He was second up. He had the residual in terms of he's ran through the winter up in Queensland, the Caloundra Cup of 56 days, unsuitable race up in Sydney, came to this race. Yes, he got the right spot, but I love the fact that he showed versatility to be able to get that spot. I think that's the important part as well, that you can actually ride this horse now forward of midfield and can sprint off a dime.
Performance of the spring so far, I think, in my view. I mean, with what he's done, it's unbelievably. It was had the perfect trip, like you said.
Yeah.
Had the barrier to do it, but executed. His last 200 was enormous. We'll talk a bit more about that later when you're going to plug one that I don't like. But this is an unbelievable performance, and Half Yours, Caulfield Cup is the aim, at his mercy, based on this performance here.
It sure is.
It's unbelievable.
If you had him,
win.
Would you just go straight into the Caulfield Cup, or the other suggestion is they run in the Turnbull weight for age and it's just more or less getting him there?
Well, I suppose if you're going to run in the Turnbull, what are you doing? A tick over run to make sure he's fit? They were saying, and this is something that has to be left to the stable, but they were saying very happy with his fitness levels. He's doing really well. He's proven now it doesn't really matter what the conditions are. I mean, God forbid the others get a wet track, because if they do, I mean, that'll only enhance his chances. I can't believe what a good performance this was, really, on the clock. It's just quite astonishing how strong he was, and we know it'll be better, mile and a half. And like I said, it's the best single performance I've seen this spring so far.
Glowing praise. If he was mine, I wouldn't go to the Turnbull. I'd just leave him coiled up. I just think it was just such a brilliant run. I just don't want him over the top Caulfield Cup time.
And you've seen him all right with the gap between runs.
Exactly.
So now he's gone all right. Like,
they'll just tick him over. Just tick him over. And then he's just going to be coiled spring Caulfield Cup.
What's he got in a...
He's on 50 now. And he'll probably get a kilo and a half, maybe 2, gets to 51.5, 52. You keep Jamie Mellom on.
So Jamie can still ride him too. This is another big plus as well.
It's just huge.
Yeah.
It's just scary how good he was. So let's see what happens with Half Yours, but we put him into the hen house. The other race that goes into the hen house is over 2,000 metres as well. It was the last race. It was won by Gilded Water. Market wanted to be with it. 1 3/4 seconds inside here, Hutch. Now, obviously a little bit softer in terms of the last 400, 200 compared to Half Yours, but Half Yours is half Jumbo Jet. So 12.17. This horse is only rated really lowly, so he's not at this stage going to be able to get into the Cups. He needs to win his way in. So he probably needs to win a Herbert Power on the week before the Caulfield Cup, and then work his way through that if they decide to go there. But I thought this was a pretty good performance.
He's going about it the right way. I like it. I like that improvement, progression first to second run. He was good first up. He was tackling some race-hardened horses, and he sort of peaked on his run a bit late after being handed to the speed. And I thought this effort was really impressive, and he still looks like he's learning what it's all about too. So, this is a horse that you sort of don't know where he will end up.
Yeah.
He's certainly on the right trajectory, and gee whiz, it was a nice performance. His Majesty as well. So we might have a sort of regal spring this spring.
I'm assuming he'd come out.
Why wouldn't he?
Yep, exactly.
I hope he doesn't run into you.
That'll do. All right, Hutch, this is going to be a bit of fun, I think.
Yeah, this is the fun part.
We're getting to the doghouse. So we've waxed lyrical about our hen house and the races that have gone good. Let's now sink our teeth into the races that we don't think have gone that well and the market might be against. Now, you've put this one into the doghouse, and I can understand why. It is race 5. It's the Caulfield Guineas Prelude, won by Estremo, quarter of a second outside standard time, so can't run a number, but 22.59, 11.51 best of the day, which gives it some hope. You're saying it's no hope.
No, I don't. Why does it? I don't understand why it would give them hope. They've gone so slow here.
They have.
And what have you got? 5 of the top 10 final 400s in this particular race. So
correct.
It shows how slowly they've gone.
So slow.
So I cannot have them. I don't even think yes, they've come. Well, one of them in particular came home okay, probably entitled to. But no, just I cannot be with this race at all. I think it is. I think it's garbage. And you don't mind it though. So tell me why.
Overall, they just can't run a number because they've gone so slow.
I understand that.
So the only thing they can do, and they don't have to do it, but at least they've come home best of the day. Now,
but they're entitled to
100% they are, but doesn't mean they have to. So they did come home best of the day. So at least that gives me some hope for them. Do I think they can win the Caulfield Guineas? Absolutely not. We've got the Golden Rose this week.
I don't think it does give them any hope. I mean, we got a horse.
But what if they didn't? If they didn't come home best of the day, then I'd go, yes, I'd agree with you.
They couldn't not come home in those sorts of times,
we're going to get to another race shortly, which was really slowly run, and they've come home pretty junky, to be honest. But everyone's sticking up for them.
So you can't.
Because they were a Group 1.
This race was ridiculously slow. What was it, like 20 lengths or something? Difference between even the girls. But Estremo's come home the last 200, 11.44 to win this race. Your horse, half yours, 11.48.
Yeah, I know. But we're talking jumbo jet stuff. Half yours. It's going to win a Caulfield Cup.
Come on, you've done no work. You're racing over a mile and a quarter, and the best you can pull out is an 11.44.
No, that's probably a fair call. That's a fair call.
Deal me out.
Yep. No, that's a fair call.
That's not good enough.
Yep. I think you're right in terms of trying to win a Group 1 at your next start at Caulfield Guineas.
Nowhere near good enough.
And whether they're going to have enough guts in them as well for the Caulfield Guineas as well. Like you sort of want at least some kind of hard runs to build you a base.
They can't all be going, well, I get what you're saying. Like, they've all run home and they're only mathematically able to run a certain figure. That's great. But we've seen a little bit from these outside of that and they're sort of questionable anyway. Now they've got in an absolute, sit and sprint walk. What is going on with some of these races as well on the pace? I mean, hello. Anyway, you can deal me right out of this.
Fair. So if it came home 10-9, would you start half pick up for it?
It should have been. Yeah. Well, I think 11.06 for, was it Space Invader or whatever? Space Rider.
Yeah.
Not Invader. That was a game.
We're sort of getting into that zone a little bit at the moment.
It came home okay, but I'm not sold. Okay. I'm not sold.
No, that's good. All right, let's get to this one because I think, we'll have some good fun chat about this. Race 7, the Underwood Stakes. I've put it in there. I've just smacked it in there. Sir Delius wins the race. Quarter of a second outside standard time. Last 400, 23.43, 11.94. I thought it was a moderate tempo and they only came home 11.94. Now, I know Sir Delius is not here to win an Underwood Stakes, but it did, so that's great. Good for racing that it did because they had it there to win and they rode with intent and all that kind of stuff. And it's there to win the Melbourne Cup. So, yes, I'm still got it okay for a Melbourne Cup. But for a Turnbull, get out of here.
Okay, we'll probably for a Turnbull, but listen, we've got an issue because the sectionals that I'm using are different to yours.
Perfect.
So isn't that welcome to 2025?
What have you got in?
Well, look, the last 200 I've got at 11.72 for Sir Delius. Okay. So that's the 29th best on the day, which isn't bad. At 100, his last 600, 105% efficiency too. So what that tells me is they haven't gone that quick. He was building towards the line. You can bonus him, I think, about 3 lengths on the overall number out of this race.
You need to.
Which you need to. And that might not get him where he needs to go, but he's a horse that's going to be getting over a bit of ground. So comparatively on the day, like I said, when I had that horse Estremo early running 11.44, this guy's run 11.72. So what have we got? Length and a half between them.
What do you make of Buckaroo?
Well, it was a good run. You were knocking him after his first run.
Let's
rewind.
He's only just been beaten in a race that's gone absolutely Scheisenhausen. So his Golden Path's got beaten a half length on levels. Golden Path drops to 54.5 in a Caulfield Cup. There's your horse for the Caulfield Cup outside of Jumbo Jet. So I thought Golden Path was outstanding, but the other two I expected more from.
I think that Buckaroo's tracking nicely.
For a Caulfield Cup with 59?
No, it's too much weight for him. It's too much weight. But I think he's got him going well. But he's a funny horse. He's got no early speed. You've got to make that early move on him. I think Blake rode him brilliantly.
Yeah.
I thought Sir Delius' first go around this track as well was excellent.
Yes. He'll be much better at a bigger track like Flemington.
He will be so much better at Flemington.
Yeah,
it's not
course.
funny. So
he's fine for the Melbourne Cup, Sir Delius. So I don't want people going, oh, what you're saying, you can't. Of course he's going to be a major player in the Melbourne Cup. I just think of this race and you purely just put it on this race, and you don't do that when you do the form when you look for a race. You don't just say, oh, that was one effort and it was poor. You look at the whole body of work, and his Brisbane effort was outstanding before he came and had the break. So I'm not knocking
everything. So knowing what he's got in target.
At Melbourne Cup, absolutely.
So more than a pass mark here, surely.
No.
Am I swinging you around?
No.
Jeez, I tell you what, it's a hard score.
And I tell you what, I do swing around. I don't at all. I shouldn't say that. That opens up Pandora's box. All right. So that's the doghouse. All right, Hutch, hits and misses time from the PointsBet trading floor.
Hang on. I'm still getting over the swing around call. But anyway, let's move on.
Anyway, Red Room is back in action. So, race 1, Nation's Call, 7 into $4.20, misses unplaced, but it's sort of off around 73 days. I'm sticking up for this horse.
Yeah, at that level, perhaps. But
definitely. It's a benchmark 78 race.
I underestimated how good the winner was.
Yep.
Coming out of a slow race, interestingly, because that's something that pertains to what we've already discussed in the show.
Yeah, Al Duki you're talking about.
So, I'd going forward, I'd rather be with the winner than Nation's Call. Anyway.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's a fair call. Race 2, Shadavar, they nailed it here, 360 into $3. Craig sort of was intent, decided to lead. It's deep into the prep, but it sort of put the writing on the wall last start where it was a pretty good effort. But market really wanted it, didn't they?
Yeah. It looked a nice race for it. Matt was good. Ticked a lot of boxes.
Would you want to be with it again now deep into the prep?
I'd have to see where it goes.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be going too much up in for a ceiling and stuff. The race is rated okay for what it was, but I just felt like Johnny right on the spot there, wasn't it?
I agree.
Race 6, Vivid Sun. Interested in your thoughts here. 320 into 240. We watched this race together Wednesday on racing.com when it was a fast tempo and it went through the line. We were like, wow, this is a really good performance, big number. Market agreed because they wanted to be with it. He rode it warm. He rode it really, really warm. He wanted to be in the first 4 or 5, which we hadn't seen with this horse before. Plain?
I thought there were excuses because he went to go forward and there was a couple of other riders that were sort of keeping him out on a limb early. And for me, he just spent too much petrol early. So, and this is a stark contrast to how he rode in the start before, but I would say Shin probably identified the fact that, there may not be much speed here, so he's gone to go forward, and in those races it didn't quite work out for him. So I thought it was a sound run. I thought he was overbet. I was actually betting against him. I didn't get the race right because I didn't get the winner, but I thought, it set up so well from him, the Sandown win, where they went 100 miles an hour. He sat back, did no work, and he sort of visually was like, oh, wow, that was a good performance. So nice horse. I actually thought this was a way better run and defeat than almost what he did at the start prior. Okay. So I won't be putting a line through her, isn't it?
Yeah, her, yeah.
So I usually get all that wrong. And this is no exception. So she will need to, she's all right, but I'm not sure she's head and shoulders above the rest.
It's interesting to see where she goes with the next start because I think they were sort of aiming up 1,000 guineas and maybe they just might, temper that and see what ends up happening there. Race 8 was the Rupert Clark. They only wanted 2 horses here. Yeah. It was Angel Capital, $3.90 into $2.90. Misses unplaced. I don't know how. And Seeples, $4.80 into $3.30 hits. I mean, they're the 2 you want to be with, 2 going forward as well, wherever they go. And hopefully they split. Seeples goes 2 rack and then Angel Capital goes back to 1,200.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. And I think I'm not sure they will, but if they did, Angel Capital's going to start a lot shorter the next time they meet, I think, depending on which race it is, if they were to clash. But he was enormous. See, I get them wrong. Yeah. Seeples was very good. Yeah, they're nice horses. I'm really trusting that form. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
market will love them.
Yep,
absolutely. And last race, Gilded Water, $3 into $2.25. Good positive ride. It was only second up here. It's got bigger fish to fry, but the key factor here is its rating is really low. So don't think it's in the cups now. Don't just go, oh yeah, it's won really well. It's going to be in the cups. It's got to win its way in. I wouldn't be surprised to see its next start being the Herbert Power. It'll be on the minimum to try and get entry into the Caulfield Cup if that's where they wanted to go, or if they're trying to aim for a Melbourne Cup, then they might go a different path like a Bart Cummings or something. I'm not sure. The camp will know that, but I think it's a number you can follow with confidence, yeah?
Maybe that's where we have to wait for King Charles to book the flight.
There you go. Yeah, I think he'd be more of a Flemington person too. If we've just got a feeling.
Absolutely.
Kimilla, maybe more around sort of Manangatang, something like that. All right. That was hits and misses from the PointsBet trading floor. In the Fox's Den, what goes in there? What do we follow with a bit of confidence here?
Let's rip through these. These Chateau Ease or A's from the filly from, of course, the Jim Maloney. This was a really good run, I thought. Settled close to strong speed, second career start, battled on well, can be hard to beat. Grand Omaha chased a hot speed as well. This is a maiden. Not sure how many races it'll go on with, but definitely more than capable. And an unlucky one that I was with on Wednesday at Bendigo as well. Fisherman's Beach now with Gavin Bedgood. Should have won.
It should have won, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we all talk about Angel Capital being unlucky. This horse was really, really unlucky and charged through the line. So he'll find the right race, I think, for Fisherman's Beach. I think that's a good call. Nation's Call for me. It was off 73 days. I know it's a benchmark race, but I reckon now it's ready if they want to stay 1,600 metres, but I reckon probably ready now for 2,000 metres. Benchmark race, be with it. Half yours, where just chips in with it for the Caulfield Cup. I think, it gets the penalty probably later today. Let's hold off. Let's not run in the Turnbull. Let's just keep him fresh. Let's just let him coil spring go berserk. One, I reckon, for possibly the Oaks here. Ooh. And this is, I'm not sure. It might come up too soon, but it's called Savvy Santa by Savabeel. Ran second in a Geelong maiden over 1,400. I thought it was really good. I've got that race going good. I want to be Savvy Santa. And then two others from a Donald maiden. Now, this is bizarre. This is the Donald maiden that a Totsu actually won many years ago and then went on and won a derby. Sentu Cavadi and Baker's Bend. Now, Baker's Bend's a 4-year-old. It can win next start. But Sentu Savadi or Cavadi might be the derby horse for this year.
Cavadi's, Camilla's, Mananatangs.
On that note, bye-bye. Okay, punters, Hutchi's out. Our man from Sydney, Nick Ashman, is in, and there was plenty happening at Randwick on Saturday. Nico, some horses put their hooves up for the rest of the carnival, and some, well, they might have just about F to themselves for the rest of the carnival. Let's get to the track really quickly. Randwick, it was out 7 metres from the 1,600 to the post, out 4 metres the remainder. It was a good 4 throughout. How was the intel?
Yeah, look, all winners were in lanes 3 to 9, so it was a little bit, as we say, through the middle. You probably just didn't want to be hard up against the fence. 6 of the 9 winners had rails in run, so that's important to note. It was a little bit of you wanted to hug the rail around the turn, and 9 of the 10 settled in the first 6. So it was a day where you definitely wanted to be forward of midfield. I think probably where our track intel was slightly off, everything was right, except for we were sort of saying lanes 1 to 5 as good as any, and it just played a fraction away from that with that little bit of irrigation that came throughout the week. So a pretty fair track, but probably favourable to be forward of midfield.
Beautiful. Okay, so that was how the track played at Randwick on Saturday. Hen House, and then we'll sort of push it into the Fox's Den, the horses that we can look out for, because they're probably coming out of those races that you think the market probably gravitates towards. Take it away with those horses you're putting in the Fox's Den from this meeting.
Yeah, well, obvious one is Joliestar. We just spoke about how you had to be forward of midfield in the first 6. She's sort of come deep and wide, and she was the widest winner all day there. Where was she? She was out in lane 9. So great performance from her. She's beaten standard time, but it was her late sprint that was unreal. The last 400 metres was about 7 or 8 lengths above standard, as I would say. So she's absolutely airborne. No wonder Chris Waller gave her the Waller Racing slot. She's absolutely flying. I love the fact he's going to go 4 weeks into the Everest, because I think last year where they made the mistake was giving her that extra run after the brilliant first up performance. She is a really good fresh horse. So love her going 4 weeks into the race. The next couple of horses to put in is out of the Kingston Town. Now, I reckon on your sort of database and a lot of other pro punters out there, this mightn't rate that well. Overall time was very good. Junk. That's it. That's the thing. You've got to go in junk. But here's the thing. I don't mind it because I'm pretty confident that both Birdman and Adelaide River, first two across the line, who had a big margin back to third, both of them are from stables that have left a bit in the tank for the Metropolitan Handicap. Lloyd Williams doesn't mind winning the Metropolitan Handicap. He's won it a couple of times with horses shifting up from Melbourne. This one, Adelaide River, is already up here. He's with Chrissy Lees. And Birdman staying in Sydney for the Metrop rather than going down to Melbourne and tackling some races there. That'd be his immediate goal. So a fast run race, they were always going to blow up a bit late because they're not quite at peak fitness. But importantly, they're going to strip a lot fitter, and they've now got the right foundation to go up to 2,400 metres. So yes, normally you and I would say this race no good. I'm going to go against the grain, mate, and I'm going to say no. this is the right kind of lead up to have going to a 2,400 metre race.
Just really quickly on that, and I will say that this race has gone no good, but that doesn't mean when they get to the Metrop I'm going to be against a horse like Birdman, because for exactly the same reasons. Just because it's rated poorly, you go back through its whole profile and you go, no, it's now got the right platform possibly to be able to win a Metrop, which we know it's going to be set for it. So as much as I'm saying the race is no good, doesn't mean it can't win a Metrop. It's clearly probably, if it's going there, probably gets a penalty out of the Kingston Town. It'll be really hard to beat, but I'll be obviously cheering for Soul of Spain. Keep going.
Yeah, Jules, and then we go back to something very opposite. Idle Flyer took out race 4, best last 200 metres of the day, second fastest last 400 metres of the day, somewhat entitled to because he was in a 1,400 metre slowly run race. But benchmark 78, he's come home, his last 400 identical time to Joliestar, his last 200 quicker than her. And I just think he's a horse that you've got to keep following. He's done 2 from 2 this preparation. And then we go to Shadzi. This is one a little bit left of centre. Comes out of race 3, won by Husk. Superb last 200 metres. Second fastest last 1,000 metres for the day. This French import now with Waller. Might be one to follow going up in trip. Just be a little bit careful because it was a slowly run race. If we don't want to jump up too much, we don't want too fast a tempo. And then rounding it out is one from Canterbury last Wednesday. Just a Journey, a 3-year-old filly by Justify. She's putting a really good overall record together. She won second up in decent overall time. She might be one we can follow into stakes races in the next few weeks.
Love that, mate. Great analysis of Randwick, and it was a really good day. So they will obviously springboard out of that, many of those horses. Larry's letterbox to finish here, mate. Fangirl, she won the 7 stakes again. Probably not as impressive as the last time she won the 7 stakes when she went past Mr. Brightside like he was stuck to the ground. But where does she end up going?
Yeah, look, I don't know. Again, look, she won, but her overall time was sort of about, maybe quarter of a second, a third of a second inside standard time. But it was a slow tempo or an even tempo. They they needed to go quicker than that. And I think with Royal Patronage and Gringotts coming out, that was when you went, okay, well, Fangirl's now the horse to beat because it took the pace out of the race. Cheerwolf needed a faster tempo than that. He didn't get it. She got the right race shape for herself. Last 200 metres, ranked 23rd for the meeting. I thought off that tempo being the horse that she is, she probably was entitled to do a bit more. So I think she's had her birthday on Saturday. I'm still going to pot her wherever she goes next.
Okay, so we're going to be against Fangirl, and we know that she's a big talking horse. She always occupies plenty of the market percentage. So I love that call because maybe there'll be some edges and angles around her. Nick Ashman, thank you very much. We'll see you Thursday for a massive preview. Golden Rose this week.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.